In Thursday night's debate between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, this question was asked by a resident of Milwaukee. My father gets just $16 in food assistance per month as part of Medicaid's Family Community Program in Milwaukee County for low-income seniors. How will you, as president, work to ensure low-income seniors get their basic needs met? Joining us now is the author of that question. She is Farheen Hakeem. She is a 40-year-old political activist who lives in Milwaukee. She's the director of the membership, she is membership and communications director for United Cooperatives for Social Justice, and she is also a personal care worker for her 83-year-old father. Farheen, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Well, that was a great question, and I guess my first question to you would be this. Did you think your question got adequately answered?
It was adequately answered by Bernie Sanders, to be very honest. One of the reasons why I was part of this Facebook group is because I was undecided as a voter. And I felt very good about his answer, specifically because he talked about expanding Social Security. I felt that Hillary Clinton agreed too much with Bernie's answer, that she was a little bit scrambling, trying to find something different, something even more edgier than what Bernie had answered. And as a result, I didn't feel that she was really answering my question. I was actually kind of confused. She had said something about low-income seniors, so we need to, I don't know if she was trying to say tax-rich seniors to satisfy and help low-income seniors, or if she meant that Social Security only for low-income seniors, or maybe not even expanding Social Security at all. And I thought it was really strange that she talked a lot about women and widows when I was talking about my father and my dad, and my mom is still alive. So that was just really strange as well.
Well, okay. I always preface anything I say on this subject by the fact that I do happen to work for Bernie Sanders in my other life. So I always assure our listeners that they're free to interpret anything I say accordingly. And we're talking with Farheen Hakeem, who asked the question about financial security for low-income seniors in the Thursday debate. My understanding of Hillary Clinton's position is she has never come out and stated that she is for increasing Social Security benefits for everyone, which is in Bernie Sanders' proposal. She has never unequivocally stated she's for raising the payroll tax cap, and she opposed it in 2008. She has said that benefits, she does say that she wants to tax so-called unearned income as part of a revenue-raising scenario. And she has talked a lot, as, by the way, have people who have talked about cutting Social Security often bring up, but we should do something about low-income seniors. So that's my best read. But I guess from your point of view, you asked a pretty direct question about what to do for low-income seniors, and you felt your question was answered by Sanders, but not by Clinton. Is that fair?
Yes. Yeah. See, you're giving me more information about Hillary Clinton's stances than Hillary Clinton herself did. And that was really problematic with the debate in general, is I noticed that Bernie Sanders was very to the point, and you knew exactly where he stood on issues. While with Hillary Clinton, I feel like she was really trying to mimic a lot of the things that Bernie Sanders were saying. I remember there was one question about banks, and she mentioned a couple of them, and I was sitting there like, you forgot about Goldman Sachs and Bank of America. Wait, you have a good relationship with them, don't you? So, it's, she's, as a campaigner, she's struggling, definitely. She's trying to mimic some of the momentum that Bernie Sanders has. And it's kind of sad because she should know better as someone who's run for office as often as she has. I'm not sold on Bernie Sanders yet. Other issues, not just this one.
Okay, no, I mean, fair enough. And, I would say, first, personally, long before I got involved with Bernie Sanders and his campaign, I was an activist on Social Security and a writer and analyst on Social Security issues. Before that, I did benefits analysis for a living. And I my personal feeling is that Sanders has had a proposal out there for a long time. It's very clear in what it does. You got the impression, I mean, she's talked as if she had never seen it or heard it when she was in the debate, but it's pretty straightforward. It basically says that everybody's benefits should go up because people who are living on Social Security, and majority of people on Social Security either depend on it primarily or exclusively, one or the other. Benefits right now are quite low for Social Security. As you know, I don't know if your dad is currently on Social Security.
Yes.
I assume he is, right? Yeah.
He is getting a little over $800 a month for Social Security. But one of the things that he actually had to, his house got foreclosed on. So my mom and I live with me and my spouse in Milwaukee. They were longtime Chicagoans, longtime Democrats, and for them it was really hard because they have to move to a brand new city. And my mom's 67 and my dad's 83. And my dad misses his Chicago news. He misses a lot of things he was able to get easily, but he had no choice. And he's living here, and we're supporting our parents. Like me and my spouse are supporting my parents in terms of many things. And so for just a little bit of benefit, just a little bit for him, so he doesn't feel like he's a burden on us. It's almost like scratching and clawing just for some really basic needs. I mean, just for a wheelchair for him. Wheelchairs are extremely expensive.
I know.
But, Social Security, I mean, they're actually going to pay for a new wheelchair for him. That's actually going to fit him in his size, not just some random wheelchair that got tossed away by a hospital.
I have to jump in for a second just to say, and we're talking with Farheen Hakeem, who wrote the question about Social Security that was debated by Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton the other night. I have to say, I have a 92-year-old mother, and my parents were divorced, and she's, in the same boat. She has a good pension and so on, but even so, I find that, I have to go into pocket, or, occasionally, my brothers go into pocket, but I've been taking care of her to a certain extent, even though she's in a facility. The wheelchair thing I know real well, because getting her a wheelchair that didn't have a broken footrest, huge. It sounds small, but this stuff isn't small when it's, when someone is wheelchair bound. So I know it is tough, and that gets to another issue you raised in your question, and I think you got some pushback on Facebook about this, Farheen Hakeem. But your question begins: my father gets just $16 in food assistance per month. I think people pushed back on you about that, didn't they?
Yeah, they didn't believe it. They were like, that can't be right. That just can't be right. And then they looked on the state of Wisconsin's website on Medicaid and said, no, they're getting a lot more than that. I don't know what's on the state of Wisconsin's website. I have no idea what that figure means, if it means everything plus food stamps. So I rebutted back with an article that was written in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that said that many seniors on fixed incomes all of a sudden had a complete shock, where their food assistance went from $80 a month or $96 a month to $16, and that they were like, what are we gonna do? I mean, you can't literally, like, that $16 for my dad buys milk, eggs, bread, and occasionally apple juice, depending on what's on sale. Like, that's all that it pays for. And so, I mean, clearly, like, we're feeding him. Like, clearly, like, me and my mom, who still works, she works at Kohl's department store, and she's only making like $10 an hour. Like, we're feeding him, but if not, he would never be able to be independent on his own. And the assistance of me being a personal care worker for him ends up being cheaper for the government, because doctors were trying to get him to go into a nursing facility, and he was just very much against it, and so was I. I didn't want him to be there because I was scared he'd be really lonely. So bringing him here, they're saving money already by just hiring me for $33 a day to take care of my father. So there's a lot that's out there, and people don't understand this reality is here until it actually impacts them.
Oh, there's no question. And I also think people cannot picture, unless you're struggling with it, how grim and how dismal some of the assistance, when people talk about anti-poverty assistance, they just can't picture $16 a month. And they shouldn't have to picture it. So we're going to have to start wrapping up, unfortunately, for Hakeem, but you asked a great question. My sense is you felt the question was answered by one candidate and not the other. Do you think there'll be a time in our lifetime when people like your father and your family can have security in their senior years?
It I think that's very possible. We just have to get the will to do it. And I think people, I mean, being 40 myself, realizing like, hey, 30 years can go by really fast. Look how fast 40 got to. And people are not planning for when they're at that age and they're vulnerable and what they're going to do with their lives and how they're going to be taken care of. And realizing that, like, you're just walking to the bathroom, getting up and going to the grocery store, getting your car oil change. Those are things that, like, when I'm 70, it's going to be a struggle. When I'm 80, it's going to be a struggle. Like, and why is it that I'm putting all the time and effort into paying my taxes and paying Social Security, and I should be able to get. And whenever there's a benefit that's out there for my dad, I know my dad worked really hard in the 50 years he was in the United States, paying taxes, working hard. Though in that time, he paid his dues.
Right.
He should be getting the support that he needs.
I couldn't put it better. I think that's really well put, and we should all be able to look forward to a secure retirement or security in the case of disability or anything else that might happen. So Farheen Hakeem, thank you so much for coming on the program, and thanks for asking a great question too.
Yeah, thank you.